Hi, I'm Jess.
And I'm Liz.
And this is Aish, That's Dark.
Let's get into it.
Hello, and welcome back to Aish, That's Dark. How are you today? How's the traffic? How's the weather? How's the drive to work?
Are people surviving with the petrol price nowadays? I'm sorry to any and all diesel users. You are going through it. We see you and we hear you.
Most.
Yeah, that's very, very horrible. How are you, Jess?
I'm good. I unfortunately got a late night because of reading about this terrible case. And Judd really sticks with you, but otherwise, I'm good.
Oh, now I'm so excited because I think I'm going to get scarred for this.
Yeah, it is. It's a very brutal case, and it's definitely one that I think will stick in your head for a while. So as much as it's a brilliant case and I'm excited to talk about it, I'm glad when it's going to be over so that it doesn't have to be...
It's out and we spoke about it and we never have to speak about it again unless there's updates in the future.
Exactly, which I hope there's not because...
Yeah, no,
I'm not going to give away anything, but...
Yeah, I myself do not know a lot about the subject, but since Jess did all of the research, I'm here to react appropriately. And we realized that we don't say Aish nearly enough in our podcast because it's not a word I use on the regular. So
you should probably fix that. You're South African.
Yeah, but how many times do you go? You go. I'm more of a shame person, you know.
Fair enough.
So I'm more of that.
We couldn't exactly call this shame. That's dark, close. Shame.
No, it doesn't have the same oomph that we need.
No.
So yeah, we're going to leave that up to you as the listener to decide if you want to say Aish or not, or to use any other expletives. You are more than welcome to. You react to the stories, and I'm also going to react to the story because this is the first time I'm listening to this, and I will be live reacting to all of this. And I know a little bit about this case today, but the details, I did not pay attention because I didn't listen to the news. I did not read the news. I kept it to myself.
It was everywhere.
Okay, so I was out of the country, but I think this thing happened while I was still in the country.
Okay.
But I know it was everywhere, but I just...
To be fair, though, I didn't, I knew it was happening, or I heard
you heard
his name and stuff, but I didn't go into a lot of research into it. I didn't look very deeply into it, but, I knew, if I heard his name, I'd be like, oh, that's this dude. I know
that's
what
that
he did, you know, yeah.
And also, I think we were both at the age where we didn't really care about
or, we had
stuff
supposedly
like
bigger things going on in our lives, I don't know, I was still in school.
Yeah, you were still in school. I was in a different country completely. And then I came back and then I was like, I need to find a job.
Yeah, so this is a very recent case, actually. So the most recent updates, I want to say, I'm not going to give away too much. It's pretty much around 2018-ish, I think.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't there.
I think it's also maybe a bit more recent, but I already don't want to give away too much, so I'm just going to say around then so that we know that it is.
So you did let slip that this is about Thabo Bester.
Yes. The man of the hour. He's also known as the Facebook rapist. He is convicted he's convicted as a serial rapist, a murderer. He's a terrible, terrible human. He's also been I want to say labeled as a psychopath. He's got some terrible narcissistic personality.
I would assume you're a psychopath if you did all of those things.
Yeah, but some people, some people are, I want to say, criminally insane. So
yeah, it's just built into their DNA, or they were dropped on their head, which isn't at this point even a joke anymore because there is, and with a lot of, I want to say, more famous cases, there's a lot of evidence saying if you did hurt yourself or you were in an accident when you were younger, I think it's the prefrontal cortex that gets damaged, and then that is how you process emotions. And I'm sorry, I just lost a bit of seriousness because there's currently a fly in the room, And Chase is trying not to smack everything in her path to get rid of this fly.
It's terrible because like we're talking about something serious and this thing is just like flying around me like, oh, what you doing?
Okay. We definitely need to get rid of that fly. And the fly has been dealt with. We hope.
It just honestly just disappeared when we opened the door. So I don't know.
He might make a reappearance. You know what? Today we have a special guest with us. Everyone welcome the fly in the room.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Not elephant.
He's really happy to be here. Right. Okay. So I think let's jump into the nitty-gritty stuff that we have to talk about first.
Yeah. So before we get into it, I just want to say that this is a podcast that is victim-centered. We're talking about real people, real women, real families, and their lives got torn apart. So we don't want to make fun of the victims. We don't skip past what happened to them. And we give them the names and we take our time with them and their stories.
Absolutely. And we do want to give like the full context of what we are talking about, because none of this will make sense if we don't go into extreme detail.
Definitely. Yeah.
Which is why we are going to tell you this now preemptively. This is going to be a two-parter.
Yes. And it's going to be a very rough two-parter. So I just want to say a blanket trigger warning for this whole episode and actually the show in general, but this episode, because it does cover violent crime. This episode specifically contains detailed descriptions of sexual assault, rape, murder, and the use of a human body. So we will give you a specific warning before the graphic sections, but just like a general warning. So if this isn't for you, you can skip it. But take care of yourselves. And if this is not what you want to hear today, then
we'll see you at another
time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think it's time to say the magical words. Jess, take it away.
So picture this. A prison cell. It's 3 a.m. and a body is on fire. The smoke alarm triggers first. Then a guard catches the smell. The particular, unmistakable smell of burning that cuts through concrete and steel at 3 a.m. By the time they reach cell 35, the mattress is fully alight. The cell is choked with black smoke, and underneath the burning mattress is what appears to be the body of Thabo Bester, the convicted rapist, convicted murderer, serving life plus 75 years. Apparently dead by his own hand.
That is a long sentence. Well, prison sentence. Let me say that. That was a long paragraph, but also that was a long prison sentence.
I thought you were just insulting. All right.
No, but that is a very, very long prison sentence.
Well, he deserved it, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know what crimes he committed, so...
But he will, and you will be on my side when you hear what happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Department of Correctional Services moves fast. Thabo Bester is declared dead by suicide before the sun comes up. The prison signs off. G-Force, the private security company running the prison, signs off. Case closed. South Africa moves on. Except the body in that cell is 25 centimeters shorter than Thabo Bester. Except the post-mortem will later show that accelerant was placed into the body's airways after death to make it look like he burnt alive.
I am already so invested in this. Please continue. I'm going to try and contain my excitement, not because I'm excited about the crimes, but I'm excited about how it unfolds.
This has so many turns.
Oh, fantastic.
So the man in cell 35 was already dead before the fire was even lit. And 2 months later, a shopper at a Johannesburg mall takes a photograph of a tall man in a green hoodie, browsing the aisles at Woolworths in Sandton City, pushing a trolley like he owns the place.
Okay. Okay, so where you painted this beautiful picture of a prison. Not beautiful, that sounds very morbid. Okay, you painted this very atmospheric picture of a prison and someone being burnt alive, but then saying, he was dead already. Accelerant was placed inside of him, and then we jump cut to a man in Woolies shopping.
So yes, Woolworths in Sandton. This man was allegedly completely unbothered. And this man, spoiler alert, was Thabo Bester.
Sneaky snake. No. I have a lot of questions already, but I will keep them until I have a bit of more information, unless I want to sound like an idiot. So please tell me you have the answers that I seek.
Yes, luckily for you, I do have the answers. But before we get there, you have to understand how a man serving life plus 75 years managed to walk out of a maximum security prison while a murdered man burned in his place. You need to understand who Thabo Bester is, what he did, and what kind of person has to exist inside a human being to make all of this possible. To do that, we're starting from the very beginning. It starts with a 17-year-old girl on the side of a road in the dark in 1985.
I don't like that. 17 is very young. Oh, I have a feeling I'm going to hate this one.
Yes, so there is a bit of a trigger warning for this part of the story. So where does Thabo Bester come from? Thabo Bester's mother, Maria Mabaso, was 17 years old when she was raped. She and her cousin had missed the last bus home after visiting her sister. A man they thought they knew well enough offered them a lift. On the ride home, he pulled over and he raped her. She did not know who he was well enough to name him. She later told journalists, and I'm going to read this exactly as she said it, because these are her words and they deserve to be exact. When we were near our road, the man nearly killed me. He raped me. Luckily, I didn't die. That's how Thabo was born.
That is hectic. So already this man who, I would assume because of the extent of his prison sentence, is absolutely psychopathic.
It's actually so sad because he even came into the world with violence.
He came into the world with violence.
So it really gives you, it like makes you question, like nature versus nurture and stuff as well. Like,
yeah, that's where I'm going to. I think you'll explain it, but now I'm like, okay, so was his mother nurturing, and did she treat this baby like you did nothing wrong by being born and I am going to take care of you? Or did she have some resentment?
Well, we will get into that and how he was raised now. But Maria never knew who the father was. She gave birth to Thabo on June the 13th, 1986, at Baragwanath Hospital in Soweto, Johannesburg. This is one of the largest hospitals on the African continent, serving millions of Black South Africans who had been concentrated into the townships surrounding Johannesburg after apartheid. And she never registered his birth.
Oh, gosh.
This didn't happen because she didn't care. It happened because she herself had never been registered. Her mother was a farm worker who couldn't access the system. Nobody in that chain of women had ever had the paperwork. So Thabo Bester came into the world with no birth certificate, no ID, no record. On paper, he was nobody. He did not exist.
That is a little rough. Once again, it all goes back, like in the previous cases, to apartheid.
Definitely.
Which, as we see, and which, as we learn as well, was extremely, extremely detrimental to the Black South Africans.
And especially in this case, because he didn't have a record or anything. Like, I'm not blaming his mum or anything, because she didn't have access to it. And unfortunately, the system,
the system failed them.
They really did. But in his case, because he wasn't documented, because he didn't exist, he was able to be a lot of different people.
He was able to kind of change his identity and go from place to place.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it definitely worked in his favor. So Maria raised him for about a year. Then her mother, Johanna Bester, offered to take the baby. Because Maria was young, she needed to work, so she left for the Free State as a domestic worker, and little Thabo went to his grandparents in Eichenhof, on the southern outskirts of Johannesburg. A family who lived nearby, sisters Erica Besadenbout and Marlene Venter, later told journalists he was a church-going boy. Kind, not violent. The kind of child who played outside and went to Sunday services. Unremarkable by every measure they could give.
So you see he wasn't raised at that age to be violent. He didn't come out of the womb screaming he was a psychopath. He was raised with love.
Definitely.
And I would assume his mother and his grandmother, they loved him so much and they took care of him from day one. So something definitely had to have happened for him to then turn into this monster that we are now discussing.
So something happened in 2002 when Thabo was 16. His grandmother Johanna died. She was the one constant adult in his life, and she was gone. His grandfather couldn't cope, and his mother was working 4 hours away, and their relationship was fractured. There was no anchor, no stable adult presence, nothing. Clinical psychologist Thabo Manzini, who later analyzed Bester's profile publicly, said this kind of compounded loss, mother effectively absent, primary caregiver dead, no stable home structure in adolescence, creates exactly the conditions for severe behavioral deterioration. She said, "We need to pay attention to such children. It could have an influence on his current behavior."
Mm-hmm.
So Maria gave 2 interviews in later years that sit very heavily together. In the first, she said she wished she'd been there after her mother died because she didn't think he would have turned out the way he did. And in the second, she said, this is quotes, "There is something wrong with him. He needs help. We would like to help him, but we are also afraid of him. When you hear about the things he's done, how can you not be afraid of him?"
Yeah, I would also be deathly afraid of my child or someone else's child if you've heard of everything that that person has done.
Yeah, definitely. But still, as a mother, like, you don't want to believe that that is your child.
No.
And, you know, to be afraid of your child as a mother, that it just shows you the extent of what he did for his mother to actually get to that stage.
And have that kind of regret in her life that she wasn't there.
But, you know, it also wasn't her fault because,
No.
you know, you have to work, you know, you need
She was
to make
providing.
you know. What was she supposed to do, you know?
And
She
especially in
thought she
those
was
times.
doing her best in that situation.
Gosh.
Yeah. So I just want to address something here because it's going to sit under this entire episode. Bester himself claims his mother abandoned him. Maria absolutely denies that. She says she had to work. The relationship with her own family was broken. She couldn't see him as much as she wanted, but she did not leave him. There's a version of the story where he's a traumatized child who was failed by every adult structure around him. There's also a version where he weaponized that narrative his entire life to make people feel sorry for him. And honestly, both of those things can be true at the same time. The psychology is real. The harm he causes is also real. We don't have to choose.
Yeah, that is a bit sad that he used that narrative, which essentially was true in some way or another. So you feel bad for child him, but you don't feel bad for the adult that he has become.
Exactly. And, you know, the truth is that many people have gone through being abandoned as a child, but they didn't end up doing what he did.
Yeah, they didn't let their...
say, you know, you can't, like, use it as an excuse because he still chose this path. He could have stopped at any time.
Even though his circumstances was extremely difficult growing up, he could have chosen a better path to walk as he got older and as he was a teenager and as he, like, had his own recognition patterns and thoughts that he was thinking. So... But see, this is all now hindsight is 2020. Like, we talk about it now, like, oh, it's so easy to do that. But then again, you don't know what he went through back then.
So he also confessed in prison to being raped multiple times as a child. Dr. Gerard Labuschagne, one of South Africa's most senior forensic psychologists, who will meet properly very soon, hopefully, acknowledged this as context while being very clear. That would be mitigating circumstances at best. It explains something about how he broke. It explains nothing about the choices he made with the breaking, though.
Oh, that cuts deep. It's like, yeah, it explains why you went the way you did, but it doesn't justify it.
Yeah, it's like an explanation, but not an excuse.
Yes, exactly. You put it in very, very simple terms. Thank you for that.
So by 17, he was already stealing from a family in Kibble Park, Johannesburg. He was arrested and released into his mother's custody. And the trajectory, the one that ends in a burning body in cell 35, was already set.
Oof.
So this is how he got the name the Facebook Rapist. His first fraud conviction came at 19, committed under the alias Thabo Magagula. That one detail tells you everything. Not even his first real crime was done under his own name. He understood from the beginning that names are just costumes. He served 2 years of a 3-year sentence, broke parole almost immediately, and started building something. A modeling and promotions agency.
That's going to go places where I don't want it to go.
You have the right thoughts.
No, I'm sorry. Someone with that deviousness currently inside of him, and he decides, you know what? I have to work smart to get what I want.
And, you know, you could use it as, I want to say, motivation, you know, that he doesn't have an identity. You could be like, I'm going to create a strong identity, you know, I'm going to show the world who I am. But instead of doing that, he was just like, you know what, I'm just going to commit crimes under all these aliases because no one really knows who I am. And
also, according to government records, he doesn't exist.
Exactly. So You know, he could use it in a good way, but he chose to go the terrible route.
But also, how do you use it in a good way?
No, I'm just saying, like, you know, because he don't, I want to say, quote unquote, exist, and like he doesn't really have an identity. You know, he could be like
a vigilante.
I was going to say you could create it yourself, you know, like define who you are.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, also he could register himself at Home Affairs.
See, there we go. It's the two extremes of the same coin where I'm like, he could have become a crime-fighting superhero. And you're like, no, he just could have registered the name and decided this is the path he's going to walk in life.
Exactly, yeah. And like, you know, support other people who maybe went through the same thing as he did and like help them in their situation.
Yeah, he could have done a lot of good, but
he didn't.
Yeah.
So in Johannesburg in the mid-2000s, this was the most seductive possible lure you could dangle in front of a young woman. Just talk about, it's the modeling and promotions agency I'm talking about. The city was alive. Post-apartheid South Africa was just over a decade old. Money was moving, brands were emerging, and a whole generation of young women wanted desperately into a world that had previously been close to them. Glamour. International contracts. A career that looked like it belonged to someone who had made it. Bester understood exactly what that desire felt like, and he stood directly in its doorway. So he used Facebook to find these ladies, knew enough in the mid-2000s that people hadn't calibrated their suspicion to it yet. Young women, late teens to mid-20s, mostly in Durban, Johannesburg, and Cape Town. He built fake profiles. Tom Kelly, Thomas Magugula, others. He sent fabricated proofs of payment. He put together paperwork, email threads, booking confirmations. He manufactured legitimacy with the patience and precision of someone who had thought every step through.
See, that is going through so much effort to make it look absolutely legitimate. Like with him creating all of these fake documents, you would have no suspicion to even think like, oh, this is a fake or this is a scam.
Exactly. It's not like, you know, back in the day where some creepy person like met you in the mall and be like, your daughter would be a great model.
And then like
everyone would, like all the
bring
kids
her to my studio in this abandoned warehouse next to a refuse lot.
He had the paperwork, email threads, literally booking confirmation. So it's like, oh, you know, I've got all the proof here that this is real. And
that is you know? Terrifying that even at that point in time, people were this malicious and this detailed in their attempt to fool young women in this case.
Yeah, it looked like a real agency. And I'm just going to give a very strong trigger warning for what I'm about to talk about. It does involve rape and a knife attack. So he would book her a hotel room. He would tell her the photographer was coming. The makeup artist was on the way. He gave her time to settle, to put her bag down, to feel the solidity of the room key in her hand, to relax. The hotel room itself was real. The booking was real. She had no reason yet to feel afraid. And then he came in with a knife. One survivor, her testimony in the court record, was in the shower when he entered the bathroom. He came through the door and drove the knife into her face, then into her arms again and again. And as she screamed, her wet hands were trying to grab him and she was slipping on the tiles. He raped her while she was bleeding. And when he was done, he took her phone, took her money, and left her on the bathroom floor. It's amazing that she survived and she testified. She stood in a courtroom and told the magistrate what he did to her in that shower in detail while he sat a few meters away.
That is, first of all, the power, like extreme respect for this woman, the power to sit across,
the courage
from your rapist and to tell your story and to not be deterred by the way his presence.
I'm sure he was like staring her down, like
he was staring daggers at her,
yes.
like, which is bad because he literally attacked her with a knife. But I'm getting chills and not the good kind. Like this is setting in, like it's creating this very strange feeling, and this is horrific. And that is saying the least about it. There are no words that could properly explain the darkness of the situation.
Definitely. And just the fact that she was in the shower, which first of all, she felt like a safe place. In a hotel room she was excited to be at.
That she had the security because she had probably the key. She had the key card.
Yeah. And what is absolutely heartbreaking is that she was one of at least 13 documented victims across multiple provinces. And those are the only ones we know about, the ones who made it to court and the ones who actually reported it.
No, that is sickening.
It is. Especially, I think in South Africa, I think our crime prevention and, our policemen and stuff, it's not the greatest.
I want to say some of them lack empathy in these kinds of situations.
I also want to know, I also want to say that I've heard stories where people have gone there and the first thing they ask is, oh, what were you wearing? What did you do? Which is ridiculous because it doesn't matter what the hell you're wearing.
That argument makes me so angry.
And that's the reason why I think that there's a lot more victims, because they were scared to come forward because of that victim blaming.
Because as you said, the victim blaming and the fact that they are judged and no one wants to take them seriously. Mm-hmm. But if there are 20 people in your office coming to you, telling you, listen, that guy over there, he kills cats in his free time, and 3 of them or 5 of them has seen it happen in real time, at some point you're going to have to be like, okay, that man legitimately kills cats. It's something worth investigating.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I had to go with such a harsh thing.
Yeah, I have a cat and you just made me way more sad now. I was already sad.
See, I didn't even think of that. But, at some point, you as a policeman or as a policewoman or someone in the force where you have the power to help someone, you have to take that role seriously.
Definitely. And I also think that maybe if more women felt comfortable coming forward and reporting it, then they would have been able to catch him sooner and he wouldn't have gone on to murder someone. Maybe
that's also like the fear of a lot of women in domestic violence cases is people are just, why didn't you just leave?
Yeah.
It's not as simple as that. There's repercussions. If you could leave, that man would come and hunt you down. That man could possibly kill you.
Yeah.
We do acknowledge that there are men also in domestic violence cases.
Yeah.
But the reality, and the very, very sad reality, is it's mostly predominantly women and children.
And statistically, actually, this is a bit off topic, but your spouse is actually statistically the person who's most likely going to murder you. And if you're pregnant, it's even more so. The leading cause of death in pregnant women is
domestic violence.
Murder.
We got seriously off topic, and
it's not even going to get better here because he does something even worse. He goes on and does worse things, but there was a day where he organized a catered event as a robbery.
Oh my goodness.
2 full buses, a real photography crew, equipment, lighting, the whole setup. The lunch was arranged for 13 models. He ran it like a real production. The women arrived, they ate, everything felt professional, legitimate, exciting, and then he told them their phones needed to be scanned for security purpose before the shoot could proceed. He collected 13 phones, he walked out with the camera equipment, he got on a bus, and he disappeared. He fed 13 women lunch and then robbed them. He planned a catered event as a heist.
First of all, who do you think you are?
Right.
Right.
Where do you get the audacity?
And then first of all, it's disgusting, man. I'm sorry, but you could have had... Okay, this is now being very weird and very strange, but this is where my thoughts go. He could have had a much cheaper alternative to still rob a large amount of people without making a huge thing of it.
I was actually thinking that as well. I'm like, it's a whole catered photo shoot.
It's almost like he enjoys the theatrics of it.
Yes, like the process. But it
he has
also
this
shows you
sick thing where he gets off on it.
How malicious he is and how cold he is and how he plans things. And this, I'm sure it took weeks in advance. It's calculated. Yeah. Every step is designed and planned. And every person is a piece on his chessboard that he's playing. Like it's a game and he enjoys that.
He enjoys the game aspect and he enjoys the theatrics of it. That's really, you could have just, I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. Please tell me more horrific things, even though I don't like this already.
So there is a bit of good news, a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel, because in October 2011, he was arrested and appeared at the Durban Magistrates Court. The room was packed. Media, public, people who had been following the story of the Facebook rapist for months. And when he walked in, journalists noted, with something approaching disbelief, how unlike their expectation he was. Charming, almost relaxed, and if he'd wandered in from somewhere more interesting and was mildly curious about the proceedings against him. It just shows you, like, it's giving Ted Bundy vibes.
That was immediately when you told me charming.
Yes.
My thought went to, Ted Bundy.
Because it happens with psychopaths where they know what people want to hear
And what
how
they want to see.
Yeah, so they adapt, which is terrifying.
Yes.
And they like charm people and be who people want to see.
They want to know more.
Yes.
They find this man very captivating. And yeah.
But I will say he's a very scary looking man. I've seen pictures of him, and you should see pictures of him.
That's not what I'm thinking. I have not seen a picture.
Why don't you look
of
up
this
a
man?
picture of him quickly?
Let's do a real-time reaction.
He's scary.
Okay.
If I saw him looking at me, I'd be like, oh, hell no. I'm leaving.
I'm waiting in excitement because my phone's behind me, so Jess is pulling up a picture.
I think it's his eyes that freak me out.
That they have nothing like behind them, that they're soulless.
He just looks very calculating, I'll say that. This is his. Oh, do you want to see the picture of him? Oh, yeah, this one is particularly like this is in his courtroom.
Okay, so literally the first instinct. So I have this picture. I will try and explain it to those listening. So he is looking slightly to the right towards the camera. He's wearing what I would assume is like a
prison attire.
Prison attire. It's like this weird yellowy nude jumper. But also his hair is disheveled and long. First of all, he is not who I was expecting.
You can go back and see the pictures of him as like when he got his mugshot, he looks a lot more composed, but still his eyes are like...
No, he looks nothing like I was expecting. Okay, so see, him with hair and him without hair are like two different people. This one where he is without hair, he looks cold and calculating.
But can you see, if you look at his eyes in the court photo though, it looks like probably what his eyes would look like when he's attacking you, I want to say.
I want to say even, so there's a light source hitting his face. So some of his face is like illuminated properly, but there is no light in his eyes. It's like his eyes are completely glazed over.
Wild in that specific photo.
They look wild. They look glazed over, like he's not currently registering what is happening to him.
I'm like, imagine seeing that as someone's attacking you. Imagine
this is
seeing
terrifying. This is absolutely
But also
terrifying.
the way he goes from being that calculated, calm person to that look in his eyes and that... No, I'm good.
Okay, so live reaction of me seeing a photo of Thabo Bester, actually, and no. If you see that man approaching you across the street, you're just like, I am going to walk back to where I was. Actually, no, you don't want to turn your back on that person. You are just going to crab walk on the road so that you keep your eyes on him at all times.
Crab walking person now.
Okay, let's say not a crab
walk with other people. And don't like interact with them at all, you know.
No, that is
just be aware of where you are and
so terrifying.
As South Africans, you know, just keep an eye on your surroundings.
Yeah, no, we know as South Africans, I'm so sorry for that slip. But yes, as South Africans, we know that you can't go anywhere alone, especially if you're a woman, especially if you're a young child. I mean, I remember the days when my parents, they were concerned, but they still gave us our freedom when we were like 13, 14 in high school. And we would say, okay, this Friday we want to go watch a movie, and they would drop us off at the movies and they would make sure we go into the mall. But then it was a tiny mall. It was a tiny town that I grew up in. But they were still concerned for your safety. So even now it's worse. So no, I'm sorry. This man, there's no light behind those eyes. It is just cold and calculating and terrifying.
That's what I'm going to say. So to get back to the story, he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of rape and 2 counts of aggravated robbery. The magistrate Sharon Mark sentenced him to 15 years per rape count, 30 years total. But there was still the other thing. The thing that had already happened. The thing he'd been running from since September the 21st, 2011.
Oh.
So let me introduce you.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but usually I would be like, ooh, what's happening next? And this time round, I'm like, no.
Don't continue.
What happened? So, yes, I interrupted you, but please continue.
So I'm going to introduce you to Nomfundo Chulu. I needed to meet her before I tell you what happened to her because she deserved to be a person in your mind before she becomes a victim. Nomfundo Chulu sold cars at the BMW dealership in Sandton City. She was 26 years old, building her career at one of Johannesburg's most competitive, most visible retail environments. To sell luxury cars in Sandton, you need presence, intelligence, the ability to read people quickly and put them at ease. Nomfundo had all of that. She was great at her job. She was making something of herself.
Yeah, you need that. That is it doesn't sound like a competitive job environment, but especially in Sandton City, which is known for its presence and for its, I want to say, luxury and regalness. You do need to stand out.
But also I want to say it is quite competitive, because if you've ever been to Sandton, on so many corners of roads, there's
plenty of car dealerships
and stuff. And
and
you have to be such a specific kind of personality, such like a person that makes people trust you. You have to be open, you have to be that kind of person. And that just like tells you about who she is, like.
You have to have it in your mind the moment a new client walks through that doors, they're walking out with a brand new car today, because you are that confident and you are that skilled in what you do. Gosh.
In January 2011, a man walked into the dealership to buy a BMW 1 Series. He told her he was in television production, that she had a look, a presence about her, that she'd be great on screen. He was well dressed, he was articulate, he was charming in a way that felt specific to her, not generic. He did not mention the present time, he did not mention the fake agency, he did not mention any of the women. They began a relationship. He was in Durban, she was in Johannesburg. Long distance, calls and messages, the whole architecture of a real connection. She believed in him. When he was arrested in Durban in October 2011 on the rape charges, Nomfundo was in that courtroom supporting him.
Oh no. I cannot believe that she would believe he's innocent. I've never been that much in love where I would go if my significant other, if they got arrested on something like this, I would not be in a position to support them through that.
I feel like I wouldn't be, I feel like I'd be skeptical, but also I don't want to assume what it's like to be in that position, because even like Ted Bundy's partner and stuff, they kind of had suspicions and stuff, but they didn't know what was going on to the full extent. And because they can put on that mask of, this is who I am and a great person and stuff, it must be very hard to see through it. But at the same time, if someone is getting charged like that, then I don't know.
Something has to go off again, like a little warning sign. But no, so if anything, it just shows what a great partner she was. To be like, you know what? I'm going to support you through this.
Which is actually terrifying and terribly sad because of what happens to her. And she was there supporting him.
No, it's a disservice to her, and I don't look forward to hearing what happens.
So, she was there. And in the weeks that followed his rape conviction, he killed her.
Oh, my goodness.
On September the 21st, 2011, they had flown together to Cape Town. They were staying at a bed and breakfast in Sunset Beach, a quiet Atlantic seaboard suburb where the streets are named after flowers and families rent little holiday cottages and the mornings smell like brine. A completely ordinary place, the kind of place where people feel safe. So unfortunately, that night in their room, he stabbed her in the chest. The record suggests he initially tried to stop the bleeding, or he at least claimed to. He later told the story in a prison interview, and I want you to hear his exact words, because the shape of how he tells it matters as much as what he says. I needed the money, and I knew she had some. By then I knew I was not going to get funds from investors I came to see in Cape Town. That night, I wanted to scare her, so I took a knife and we got into a struggle. As she held my arm, my hand slipped and I stabbed her. I tried to stop the bleeding, but there was too much blood. He said it was an accident, and then, in a separate interview, he said this. If I wanted to kill her, I would have killed her in Durban, or the first night we got to Cape Town. I could have got her to Matata, where there are much less people, and killed her there.
I don't like either of these quotes. I don't think you're supposed to. But him saying, I needed the money and I knew she had some. So already from the get-go, maybe his motive changed as he got to know her. But I don't know, it does not sit right that he's like, okay, we got into a struggle and my hand slipped. I think this man is too calculated and too intelligent in the way that he committed previous crimes for him to go like, oh, we struggled and my hand slipped. I don't think that's the truth.
That he is full of it because I'll tell you another Derek quote or something he says, and he's a liar, okay?
No, absolutely.
You have to take what he says with a grain of salt just because, he he does twist things for his favor.
Like a pathological liar, you would assume at this point.
But what I think is kind of funny is that he explained how you would have done a better murder as a defense for not doing the murder he did.
Almost as if saying, like, listen, I already calculated this other way I could have done it.
Yeah. It's like, here's a superior method of murder.
Yeah.
So this is why I didn't do this murder, because if I did, I would have done it this way.
No, he's full of it.
So in another interview, he also said, direct quote, "I'm not somebody you should worry about leaving a woman in a room with. I would not rape her." This is from a convicted rapist about himself, apparently without irony.
No, then immediately, if someone said that, like,
Exactly.
oh no, you don't have to worry about. I wouldn't touch her. I'm not gonna repeat that word. It's no.
But also, I'm sorry, that wouldn't even cross a reasonable person's mind. You wouldn't be like, oh no, you can leave her alone in a room with me. I'll be fine. No one's going to be like, you can leave her in a room with me. I'm not going to rape her. Like, that's not even something that, if someone said that to me, I'd be like, oh hell no, I'm not going to.
That's already like a gigantic red flag.
Why is that thought even in your mind?
Yeah, why would you go to those words directly?
Yes.
You could be like, oh no, you can leave her here. I'll watch over her. That's what you usually say in a normal situation. But here he's like, oh no, don't worry. I'm not going
It's insane.
touch her inappropriately and do things to her that would scar her for life. No, I'm sorry. This is just no.
It's terrible.
I feel like I'm underreacting to these things as well, because for some reason it's not processing fully yet in my mind. Like I'm hearing this for the first time and I'm sitting here like thinking through everything. But at the same time, I'm hearing what you're saying, but it has not struck me yet as much as it should, because the severity of this is ridiculous. And I'm flabbergasted, honestly.
So forensic psychologist Dr. Gerard Labashkachny had interviewed Bester in 2011 and would go on to comment publicly on the case for years. He said, "He is a con man. He is trying to create an impression of what he wants that person to have of him." He also noted that even the guilty plea to the rape charges was calculated. It's a very soft version of events. It's not going to go into gory details. It's also a measure of controlling and conning, and not necessarily a sign of remorse. That's what the psychologist said. And even his guilty plea was a strategy, which is, it's just mind-blowing how someone can be so calculated. It's like, oh, let me just go with these terrible charges because it's better than what I actually did, you know?
Yeah, and how he says, like,
soft version of events.
He, like, softened what happened. And then it makes you think, like, was he always this calculated and always thought things through so meticulously in his younger adult life? Which must be exhausting.
Yeah.
If
I wonder if there were signs, you know, like, if he did anything and people were like...
That's a bit weird.
Yeah. I don't know. But even his neighbor said that...
He was a church goer.
to report, you know, like, normal as normal could be.
But also the fact remains that he was also sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
Well, as he claimed.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah, and that is a catalyst for things to go horribly, horribly wrong. But it must be exhausting to just think everything through so meticulously, just to have your version of what you want to be put out into the world, to have it so perfect. No, this...
But it's fine. He can stay exhausted. Like, we don't care about him.
Yeah, he can stay tired
we don't
for
care.
the rest of his life.
Yeah. So just to show you, like, what a monster he truly is. After Nomfundo was dead, the record is imprecise about the exact timeline, but Bester went downstairs to the B&B's reception. He told them his girlfriend was sleeping in and should not be disturbed before 2 p.m. He hung a do not disturb sign on the door. He took her laptop and her phone and he flew to Durban. He left her in that room with a do not disturb sign on the door so that no one would find her.
No, that is premeditated.
It is.
That is absolutely premeditated, because you would not be that calm in that situation. This man is a psychopath. He went down there, acted as if nothing happened, and he was like, right, things are going to plan. And he's just being like, playing the role of the loving and caring boyfriend.
No, she just, she's sleeping in
Listen, she's really sleeping. Please do not disturb her. I'm going out to do a few things. And then he just left her there, and then he went back to Durban.
And the girl that supported him, the woman that supported him during court,
believing he was not the monster that other people claimed to be, he just went against all of that, and now her family is dealing with the consequences. No, this man is giving me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah. She had been in that room for some time before anyone raised the alarm. The do not disturb sign had worked exactly as intended. He spent months evading a nationwide manhunt across Cape Town, Durban, and Johannesburg before being arrested in October 2011. In November 2012, at the Western Cape High Court, Judge Judy Critter sentenced him to life imprisonment plus 75 years for the murder and aggravated robbery of Mfundo Chulu. On top of the 30 years already handed down for the rapes, the judge described his actions as a sequence of brutal and callous acts that deprived a young woman of her life and her loved ones of her presence. He later wrote from prison in a letter that journalists obtained and published, "I am so sorry for all the sins in my life. I am so sorry to Mfundo's family for the pain I put them in. Yes, I got a life sentence, but it will not give us Mfundo."
Oh, I call immediate BS. That was just to clean his image in the public's eye. Or I don't know what he thought was going to happen. That some people would be like, oh, he's remorseful. When in fact, this man showed no remorse at any other time in his life. So no, that does not. No. I just keep saying no.
Yeah.
No. That man is
We see
insane.
right through your BS.
We see right through it.
It's probably because you're an empath as well, so you just like see like people trying to manipulate you and stuff. You're like,
yeah. Then I'm like, I'm sorry.
What do you yeah, like, excuse me, what?
I can see through your actions. So are you going to tell me the legitimate reason why we are having this conversation, or are you going to continue and waste my time until I inevitably end up making you feel worse about this whole situation, or even humiliating you, which I don't want to do. But that's just how it works.
Okay, so let's get into the psychology of how this man works.
Finally. I want the scientific data to back this up.
So before we go into the prison years, I need to spend time here because the question that's been sitting underneath everything so far, the question Liz is definitely asking is how. How do people believe him?
Yep.
How does a man who does what he does in a hotel room in Umhlanga walk into a courtroom and come across as charming?
Yep.
How does someone as brilliant and accomplished as the woman we're about to meet end up throwing everything away for him?
Yep. Absolutely.
The answer requires understanding something about the specific type of person operates. And it's not a comfortable answer because the truth is, the reason people believe him is not stupidity. It is that he is extraordinarily, precisely good at giving each person exactly what they need to see, which is what we said earlier.
Which is a psychopath.
So forensic psychologist Andrew Goldberg, who analyzed Bester's criminal profile and escape operation in depth, concluded that Bester displayed narcissistic personality disorder and psychopathic tendencies in combination. He described him as a master criminal who weaponized charm, intelligence, and charisma. He felt so completely superior and so completely entitled that the normal moral friction other people experience simply did not apply to him. Harm does not register the way it does for most of us. He can stab a woman and then go downstairs and arrange a do not disturb sign. The emotional wall that would make that impossible for most humans, he does not have it.
Absolutely. He simply lacks sympathy, empathy, all of the normal feelings that human beings would feel in a situation. He just simply lacks them. And he doesn't care.
Exactly. So Dr. Gerard Labashkakni, former head of the SAPS Investigative Psychology Section, one of South Africa's most respected forensic profilers, a man who has sat across from killers and rapists throughout his career, sat across from Thabo Bester in 2011 and described him as a smart, intelligent, well-spoken, and sophisticated conman with a rough upbringing. He also noted, with a precision that only made sense years later, Bester got worse in prison, more financially sophisticated, more dangerous, and he added, with the help of a woman, possibly his partner.
Damn. He absolutely called it.
Yep.
In 2011 when he made like his first observation of that man. Gosh.
So in 2013, from prison, he wrote a letter to his childhood friend. News 24 later obtained and published it. He wrote, "I was in prison for a crime that I never committed, and I was so hurt by the stories in the media about me, for most of it is not true. The world is not a truthful mirror of who we are."
That is the fakest letter I have ever heard in my entire life. how did this man think, okay, I'm writing to my childhood friend. He'll understand me. Hey, no. No, if one of my childhood friends turned up to be a convicted serial rapist and murderer and was like, I'm writing you a letter, I would be, first of all, I would be shocked and be like, how did you get in contact with me? Second of all, I have seen the news. I don't want anything to do with you.
Exactly. But what I also took away from this quote is that the way it's written, you can kind of hear how people are like, he's intelligent.
He's a victim.
Well-spoken man. No, but just the way he phrases it. It's like, the world is not a truth or mirror of who we are. Like, it sounds so deep and like, but you can see just in that thing how he interacts with people.
How he thinks about all of this. For saying he was in prison for a crime that he never committed. And that he was so hurt by the stories in the media, framing the media as the bad guys in his narrative. No, my guy, no. Just no.
So he gave his childhood friend life advice, and he used religious themes throughout. The persecuted man, the faithful soul, the wisdom earned through suffering. He positioned himself as a wrongfully imprisoned visionary, dispensing insight from an unjust cell. The portrait of a man who had been destroyed by forces outside his control and was using the time to better himself and others.
No, his whole narrative is just screaming BS. The fact, a lot of people use, unfortunately, it is a reality. So for a lot of people, they do turn around in prison due to religious reasons.
Yeah.
Some of them actually make a life for themselves after they have been released.
Yeah.
But a lot of other people see like, oh, this is a thing that's working, so I'm going to use this to my advantage. And they say that they've met this higher being in prison, and they are now following this righteous path, and that what happened in his past is no longer a part of them.
It's like to get sympathy.
And for people to be like, you know what? Because generally most religions, you say, treat your neighbor as you would treat yourself and do not do harm unto others. And this is now the thing where, this man has turned around his life, so now I should see him as my equal and love him as such. But that is just not happening here. I'm absolutely sorry.
And now he's like, oh yeah, let me give you all this amazing advice because I'm so changed and so amazing.
Yes, and I'm helping others in this prison. I am sorry.
Spoiler alert, more is coming.
No.
Okay, anyway, so let's carry on with this. Dr. Labuschagne read the letter and said, it's amazing. He claims religious themes. He probably felt those will resonate with the person he is trying to manipulate.
Exactly.
I would check every fact he claims, and then Thabo Bester at his best. He also notes that Best's claim to have been taught to respect women was, his word, laughable, given that almost all of his victims were women.
It's like he used that letter as a sort of performance art. Like he is now saying he has learned wisdom, he has learned decency from a prison cell for murdering and raping women. I am so sorry, but laughable was the appropriate word to use. It really was.
So this letter is important, not just as a character study. It matters because of what it represents. He was not only writing to old friends, he was writing to women, carefully selected women, building connections, maintaining their persona, and one of those women answered in a way that would change everything.
I'm sorry. Like, do you see the face I'm making currently? This is my I am disgusted face.
You should be.
No.
Correct reaction.
Oh, so, great.
He is now in prison. Life plus 75 years. Maximum security. And what does his day look like?
Do we care?
You will care, because apparently it's building a media company.
Media companies are usually known for their honest and truthful reporting of facts happening around them. That man does not have a single contributing factor that directly applies to what a media company is. I am sorry? He's doing what?
Okay.
I refuse to believe it.
And this somehow is a scandal in its own right that should have ended multiple careers and somehow hasn't. He has an unauthorized smartphone.
Great.
Unauthorized laptop.
Great.
Full unmonitored internet access from inside a maximum security prison facility run under a public-private partnership by G-Force, the British multinational security company contracted by the South African Department of Correctional Services to manage the facility. Part of what they were being paid to do was ensure this kind of thing was impossible.
Corruption. The whole thing is corruption. I'm sorry, what kind of person does it take to give this man, who is notorious, he's not infamous, he is famous for doing all of these horrible crimes. And they're like,
yeah, have a laptop.
He's a nice guy.
How about a smartphone? Will this make your stay more
buddy, are you
comfortable?
good? Can I get you a book or two? No, it exactly shows you what type of person he is. He is a psychopath who tends to manipulate the people around him because he knows what they want to see and what they want to hear. So these people are blindly being fooled and led by this absolute insane trash of a man.
Yes. He used this laptop and phone and internet for terrible things. Well, actually, good things for him, terrible things for people later on. He enrolled in online courses. He upskilled.
To do what?
Just wait. He researched. Around 2018, 6 years into his sentence, he launched 21st Century Media, named and branded to look like a subsidiary of 21st Century Fox.
Yeah, I was going to say that because that is very, very close. Also, why? My guy, if you know anything about copyright laws and IP, you could get
Probably
sued.
doesn't. He's dumb.
You could get
He's not dumb, but like he's very intelligent, but you have
but
to
he's
like him.
Okay, please just continue.
Yeah, so he named and branded it to look like the actual American media conglomerate worth billions of dollars. He had no permission to use that branding. He simply used it. And he gave himself the name Tom Motsepe. For context, the Motsepe family are one of South Africa's most prominent billionaire dynasties. Patrice Motsepe, mining magnate and philanthropist, is one of the country's most recognizable names. Calling yourself Tom Motsepe is like calling yourself Tom Rockefeller. The name opens doors before a single question is asked.
Yeah, I don't know if... Okay, well, I would say our listener demographic is more of the younger people.
The younger people?
The younger people. See, it was the Afrikaans and English mixing in my mind, and it was like, why did you make yourself sound like an idiot and use both words? Because they're so similar. So the younger crowd. So the Rockefellers, for those who don't know, is still one of America's most influential families. And they have been involved in most of what has happened in America since, I want to say, the 1940s. I could be very wrong. But the Rockefeller name, and I know in a lot of movies it has been made like fun of or spoofed or, you know, kind of that thing, because they are a very, very influential family and they are billionaires in their own right. I don't know if they do use it for good, so I'm not going to say anything further about that. But just the simple audacity of this man taking a surname that does not belong to him because it's a powerful family. And also, my guy, you could absolutely get sued for the use of 21st century media and making it... No, I'm sorry. He is crazy. He's not just a psychopath, but he's also crazy. But I can see you wanting
I want to tell you that somehow it worked.
Oh, for goodness
He
sake.
attended virtual industry events under this persona, award galas, networking sessions, corporate conferences. He charmed real people in the real events industry. There's actual video footage. It went viral when this all came out, of Thabo Bester on a live video call addressing what appears to be a conference, telling attendees he is joining from New York. For those in the back, he was in a cell in Bloemfontein, claiming to be in New York.
My reactions are a bit slow today because all of
This story is crazy. It's got so many twists. I can't get over it.
It is so overwhelming. He was in Bloemfontein. How is
guys, I'm just in New York.
I'm sorry. How is the internet speeds in Bloemfontein? First of all, that could have been a dead giveaway in and of itself. But just the fact, like galas and meetings and virtual meetings and all of that being like, oh, sorry guys, I can't come to you. I'm a multi-billionaire, but currently I'm sitting in New York. Meanwhile, just like live streaming from his little cell in Bloemfontein.
Okay, so there is footage of this. In 2018, he organized an event that advertised Hollywood celebrities as guests. Tickets were sold. No celebrities appeared.
What a surprise.
He also threw himself a birthday celebration, June the 13th, 2018, where celebrities were apparently on the guest list to attend the 21st Century Media launch and sing him happy birthday. Whether they knew who they were dealing with is unclear, but he had them at his event, his birthday party, from a prison cell.
This
man is insane. Like, I can't get over, like, the extent he goes to. And he got away with everything.
The fact that people keep believing this absolute nonsense, it either shows that this man is an absolute genius who, if given the right opportunities in his life, could have taken over the world, or if the rest of the world is just simply ignorant to what is currently going on around them. I mean, are you kidding me? He organized birthday party. I almost said party. My brain is breaking. This is not making any sense. He organized himself his own birthday party from a maximum security prison cell. Like,
from a Southern Bloemfontein.
Who gave you, first of all, you charmed everyone. Who gave you the authority, first of all, to be able to do that? Why did they give him a cell phone? Why did they give him a laptop? Why did they give him internet access? No, this man should have been stuck in solitary confinement in the dark, where if long enough you stay there, whenever you see sun, you are legally blind.
He deserves the worst. Of everything that he did, he genuinely deserves the worst.
Absolutely.
Okay. Throughout all of this, the fake empire, the fake identity, the fake events, he was maintaining correspondence with women, telling them he was wrongfully convicted. A visionary businessman destroyed by powerful people, brilliant and misunderstood. All he needed was someone who truly believed in him. One of them did, and one of them answered.
No. See, I just see this man in his prison cell because they gave him all of these other things. So, of course, they could get him a framed photo of Ted Bundy and him just laying in his bed every night looking at that photo and whispering, "You're my hero, Ted.
I want to be like you.
I want to be like you. You would be so proud of what I have achieved."
And Ted Bundy probably wouldn't even want to do, like, bro, what are you doing?
Ted Bundy would be like, no, actually, I don't know how Ted Bundy would be. No, none of this makes any sense. So, no, please.
Okay, so we're going to introduce another character.
No.
Dr. Nandipa Magudumana. She needs to be introduced properly. Not as a footnote, not as the naive woman who got taken in, because she was not naive. She was one of the most accomplished people in this entire story, and that is precisely what makes her role in all of this so staggering.
I'm sorry, but is she playing a good role or is she falling prey?
Neither. She's playing a bad role.
Oh, gosh.
So, born September 15th, 1989, in Bizana in the Eastern Cape, raised in Port Edward, KwaZulu-Natal, accepted to Wits University, consistently ranked among Africa's leading research institutions for a BSc in health sciences. Then returned for a full MBCHB, graduating in 2013 as a fully qualified medical doctor, worked at Edenvale Hospital and Far East Rand Hospital, building expertise in anesthesiology, dermatology, and plastic surgery. I just want to say, I went to Wits, okay? She is giving Wits a bad name. I just wanted to add that. I don't like her.
Okay, so now I'm finding out little bits of why you don't like this woman, and I have no idea. Okay. So yeah, just continue.
In 2017, she founded Optimum Medical Aesthetic Solutions in Morningside, Sandton. High-end cosmetic procedures, a wealthy and returning clientele, a beautiful branded practice. 155,000 Instagram followers. On the Mail and Guardian's 200 Young South Africans list in 2018. The country's definitive annual ones to watch list. Married to Dr. Mkhuzeli Magudumana, a pediatrician. She had 2 daughters, loudly passionate about fighting gender-based violence in South Africa.
So, as you said, she was passionate about fighting gender-based violence in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And does this come into play?
I think it makes it more shocking about what she did.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So she was publicly and loudly anti-gender-based violence figure. And at some point, she was a friend of a South African media personality and entrepreneur who, after all this came out, went on radio and called Bester a king. I didn't want to say his name, just, you know.
Yeah, I don't want to know his name because are you kidding me?
Yeah. He was widely condemned and later apologized, but this tells you something about the social circles and the credibility that Bester had managed to build for himself from a prison cell in the years before any of this unraveled.
He was a narcissist and a psychopath. He knew how to manipulate
like,
people.
You're a king.
He's like, yeah, Bester, my boy, you are king. No, I'm sorry, you're being manipulated just like the rest of the people. I'm frustrated, Jess. Please continue.
So Nandipa claims she and Bester first met at Wits in 2006.
Guys, we are so far ahead in the time, like we don't even know how to say the 2000s correctly anymore.
That he was a theology student on campus. There is no record of Thabo Bester ever being enrolled at Wits. None. The Department of Home Affairs confirmed his highest qualification is grade 7.
Okay, so I'm so sorry to interrupt you. So, okay, this man had no birth certificate, so he wasn't registered at birth. Naturally, for the Department of Home Affairs, he had to be registered for something, right? Because you can't apply to university without your ID. And
well, no, he didn't. They said that he
said there's no record of him being enrolled at Wits.
Yes, so he didn't.
His highest qualification is grade 7.
Yeah. So maybe they did later say you exist.
Anyway, yeah, let's just continue. I'm sounding dumb now because I'm dumbfounded. So, okay, continue.
So you cannot have a theology student. You cannot have been a theology student if he didn't even have a matric certificate.
Yeah.
He was at best hanging around the campus, performing the role, meeting people. Something happened between them in 2006 that she never fully described, and then their lives diverged completely.
I'm sorry to say, like, something happened between them that she can't describe. It sounds like the start of a very bad romance novel, but
it's a terrible meet cute.
That's not a meet cute.
But also it's actually so smart, just not to, I'm going to say it's smart of him, but I hate him, that he actually was on the university campus. Like, these are going to be the next people, the up and comers. Like, Wits University has like one of the highest rejection rates.
Yeah.
So those people who are at Wits are the best
to be there.
Yeah. So just him going there and meeting people shows, that he knew.
He was already calculated. He was like, listen, I need this information that these people are learning. So yeah, it's very clever of him. He still remains a bad man.
Definitely. So in 2017, 11 years later, he reached out to her, to a woman who was now a doctor, a founder, a mother, a published profile in a national newspaper, who was married, who had daughters, who was, on paper, completely unreachable. He reached out anyway, because she was exactly what he needed.
And he believed that no one can stop him, and he is unstoppable, and he is so on her level.
Using those connections that he built. So she began visiting him in prison. 400 kilometers each way from Johannesburg, roughly 4 hours in the car, then again and again, regularly enough that investigators later noted the pattern. And according to records uncovered by investigators, between April 2021 and March 2022 alone, both she and Bester booked rooms at the same 5-star hotel in Ballito, KwaZulu-Natal, on at least 9 separate occasions. Different bookings, same hotel, same dates, because corrupt G-Force officials were allegedly driving Bester out of the prison, through the gates, off the property, into a vehicle, and taking him to a coastal hotel, where he spent the night with the woman he had proposed to, and then driving him back before morning. He was leaving Mexican security prison for a luxury hotel stay and going back before dawn like nothing happened. The corruption in our country, I know it happens all the time, but it still blows my mind when I read this kind of stuff. And they can confirm at least 9 times that this happened.
I am at a loss. I am at a complete loss for words. I am sitting here.
And she's married. And
she's married. Daughters. And he proposed to her?
Okay. Let's continue.
Please continue, because I'm sorry, people. I said I would react appropriately. I am failing at my role because I cannot react appropriately, because I have no idea how to react to this, because this is not a normal situation.
So he reportedly proposed to her in 2020. She said yes.
Oh, for goodness.
She later claimed in court documents that he had paid lobola, the traditional South African bridal practice where the groom's family makes a formal payment to the bride's family as part of a customary marriage, of 60,000 rand. In December 2020, investigators established that the man named as having arranged the lobola, a David Magagula, did not exist.
Of course he didn't. I'm sorry, you're a doctor. You are a very high-profile person in your field of study, and you're only accepting 60,000 rand?
Actually, it's true. So her husband found out about the business, obviously, and he initiated divorce proceedings. When she was arrested, he stopped visiting her in prison, not once in 4 months. Her brother, in the Netflix documentary, yes, there is a Netflix documentary called, I think, The Beauty and the Bester, something like that. So he described calling him to check in. The answer was essentially, I don't know who this person is anymore. In November 2021, 6 months before the escape, Nandipa stopped visiting Bester at the prison because by November 2021, she no longer needed to. The plan was in motion. She had arrangements to make.
That sounds ominous, to say the least. Like, what is this lady planning?
The next phase, and it was already underway, and we'll pick up exactly there in part 2.
No, you're gonna leave everyone in a freaking cliffhanger like that? That is rude. That is
really. I'm going to come back for part 2 because it is just going to get even crazier.
Oh my gosh, no.
That is part 1 of the Thabo Bester story. We've given you the man, where he came from, what he built and what he did, and who he chose to do it with. Nomfundo Chulu, the woman in these hotel rooms, the psychology underneath all of it. Part 2 is where it gets, honestly, even wilder.
Are you kidding me?
They escape from Cell 35, a murdered man in a TV cabinet, a 12 million rand Hyde Park mansion, a Woolworths trolley, a Netflix lawsuit filed from a prison cell, the journalists who broke it all open, and where the trial stands today. Before we go, we say her name, we say it every time. Nomfundo Chulu.
Nomfundo Chulu.
Thank you for listening to H That's Dark. If this episode is sitting with you, share it, tell someone. Find us at H That's Dark on Instagram and TikTok. And you can send us an email to hthat'sdark@gmail.com with any of your stories. If you knew anyone who was affected by Thabo Bester, anyone who, I don't know, knows anything.
Knew him, followed him on Instagram, was in his inner circle. We don't know.
Tell us. We're on all major podcast platforms. Rate us, review us, and send us your South African stories.
And as we already previously said, we want the dark ones, you know? We want the stories that nobody talks about. I'm not even going to say responsibly dark because at this point, the story just blew everything wide open and now I believe nothing is impossible.
So just send us your dark stories.
Yeah.
And that's us for today.
Stay safe, please. Stay safe and stay skeptical.
And maybe don't create a media company while you're in prison.
Yeah. Let's say that. Let's add to that, shall we? Maybe don't be a psychopath, kill people, go to prison, and then try to be a media mogul.
Yeah.
Stealing the IP of a multi-billion-dollar industry and name in America. Just don't do that.
Just don't do it.
We will see you in the next one.
We will see you in the next one.
Oh my gosh, I can't, Jess. I can't. Bye.
Bye.
What is this, Jess? What the heck is this?
Why? I don't know.
I'm so confused. I actually want to cry. What is this? This is absolute madness. No.